This is a pair of mid to late 19th century figured walnut pedestal cupboards, but they're actually packing cases for campaign furniture. And if we turn on one for the side view, you can see that the side and the back and the tops are painted pine. Originally they would have had tin stripping along these edges. It's since been removed by someone who just wanted to smarten the cupboards up for use in a home. And actually they're quite a good size and they're useful cupboards. We've had these before, but mainly they've been in mahogany. And when they were used, originally they would have had a painted pine packing board which would go on the front here and would bolt down with fittings here and also to the bottom, so that all of the show wood and figured walnut would be nicely protected during travel. So the question is, what were they packing cases for? Well, let's open up a door or two and show you. So they hold a figured walnut campaign chest, and although packing cases normally are set horizontally, so one sits on top of the other rather than vertically like pedestals, and they were used as a piece of furniture in their own right, which was typically called a wardrobe by most makers, these pedestal covers were made to be used differently. But there was also a great deal of variety in the way and versatility in the way that they could be used. So what I'm going to do is speed up the camera in a minute and show you exactly how they can use. But before I do that, I want to show you a board which is going to be hard to see later. So we'll show you now. Now, this hinged piece of straight grain walnut is all part of it, and we can see that we've got brass slide fittings to the end here, and we've got lugs here. Now we'll come to that later, but just hold that in your mind as to what it is, because you won't be able to see it as well later, and I'll point it out to you. Right, well, I think it's time to take the jacket off and get about setting this up for you. I'll speed it up because we'll make it as quick as possible so you can see what a truly fantastic piece of furniture this turns into. Now, I said at the beginning that we date this from mid to late 19th century, and it was made throughout that period. In 1855, J.W. and T. Allen advertised in their catalogue of campaign furniture a mahogany version of this, and they described it as a portable chest to form a sideboard. And when it's fully set up like this, that's exactly what it is. It's a large sideboard. But you've got your chest in the middle, you've got your cupboards to either side, and originally these cupboards would have each had two linen press slides which would go in, and then they would stand up in front of the chest when it's packed. Now, when I was putting it all together, I might have been too fast for you, but if we have a look inside here, you can see a large brass bolt head, thumb bolt, and that goes through, and on each side it links the two cupboards to the chest. Remember that board I showed you as well? I said it would be much harder to see afterwards. Well, that is fitted at the back of the chest here. Now, the reason being for that is because in order for the two halves of the chest to fit inside the cupboards, they've obviously got to be smaller. So the fact that they're smaller and not as deep means that you've got a gap here at the back which needs filling. So this little board, which is hinged, has got lugs to unite it to the back of the chest, and then the sliding bars, brass bars, just lock into the side of each cupboard. And then you've got this wonderful, great big cresting rail at the top here, which sits on lugs, and it's hinged to the middle and to each end, so it'll fold up and it can go inside the drawer when you're travelling. Now, this isn't just an ordinary chest of drawers, it's a secretaire chest. So we can open that, and you can see you've got your secretaire, and it retains its travelling board, which of course is very useful. On most secretaire chests, this tends to be missing, and it just stops these boards sliding out into this empty space and causing trouble during travel. So it's nice that it retains that as well. Now, I also said that this was a very versatile piece of furniture, and in the 1880s the Army and Navy store were also selling versions in their catalogues, and you could buy different versions of this chest depending on how much you wanted to spend. So it could be used with the two cupboards away from the chest, and you would have a dressing table in the middle of the chest, or you'd have a washstand. Well, the dressing table might have been made out of the cover boards for the front of these two pedestal cupboards. And if you paid extra money, then you'd get a set of legs which would screw into the boards. The boards could either be joined together to make one large table, or I suspect that you could have fittings on the board which would just form a tabletop, a dressing table, with the bolts from the side cabinets going in instead of the chest, and the chest used separately. So very versatile. You could also use the boards with a leg screwed in as a separate table. You pay more, you get more. Simple as that. Now, if ever you see a campaign chest and you notice a hole on each side, you now know that originally it was probably meant as a sideboard chest, and those holes were to take these bolts which unite the pedestal cupboards on either side to the chest, and at some stage the pedestals have become separated, very, very common, I'm afraid, from the chest. We've certainly sold the pedestals separately before when they've parted company with their main chest. Now this example stands out for the fact that they've used figured walnut on the show wood. Drawer linings are all ash, which is nice, and figured walnut just lifts it, and again that would have been much more expensive than a mahogany version. Now in 1855, J.W.T. Allen was selling a mahogany version of this for £14. And in today's money, that equates to around about £1,200, just over. So that gives you an idea of it. Worth considerably more money now, obviously. So what else can we tell you about this chest? Well, we bought it privately, and it comes with some provenance. There's no owner's details to it, but the seller inherited the chest along with some medals that belonged to the owner or owners. Now I say owner or owners because there were two soldiers in the family who might have owned this. The father, James Elliot Bell, who was a surgeon who enlisted in 1853. He left the army in 1871 and became a dental surgeon up in Scotland. And he had a son, Elliot Bell, born 1860, who also joined the army. But he joined the army in South Africa. And if I just hold up a photocopy of some of his medals, you can see there that he has got the Medal for the Cape of Good Hope 1877 to 1878, and the South Africa General Service Medal. Now, he started off in George Burger's regiment, and then in 1881 he moved to Harvey's Horse. We can't really find much trace of Elliot in the standard British regiment, but we know that in around about 1886 he's recorded as travelling to North America, and then it seems that he spent 10 years in Canada. He got married, he had a child, they moved back to Britain 10 years later, 1896, and had 2 more children. And then he enlisted again for the First World War, and he won several medals for that. So a nice bit of history that goes with it. But either father or son could have purchased this chest. It's possible the father purchased it, and then later the son used it when he went off to campaign. So to sum it up, it's quite a rare piece of campaign furniture, being as complete as it is, but also being made of figured walnut. It's mid to late 19th century. We don't have a maker's name. 2 or 3 different makers were making this form of campaign chest, which turned into a sideboard. It stands out for having the figured walnut, and well, it's just a super, very versatile piece of furniture that you can use set at its full size like this, or with a cupboard pedestals used separately and the chest used separately. So really quite versatile indeed. There's far more information on it on our website, campaignfurniture.com, and you'll also see much more history of the Elliot Bell and his father there as well as lots of extra photographs. Thank you for watching.